That's right, we are back for another weekly live show. This is the NZ Travel Show, where you can plan your trip to New Zealand with the experts behind NZ Pocket Guide. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. It is the 29th of May right here in New Zealand, bright and early, 8 a.m. Why are we waking up so early on a Sunday morning, Laura?
Just so people can come and chat to us.
There you go. All right.
And hopefully it's an appropriate time for you guys, because it's never an appropriate time in New Zealand.
No, it never is. All right, so today we're going to be answering all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. There's already a bunch of people in the chat. This is how it works. You guys ask us questions in the live chat and we read it all and we answer everything to the best of our knowledge. But if we don't know the answer, we will tell you that we don't know the answer. We're here to talk travel mostly, but if there is a couple of questions about life in New Zealand that sneaks in, usually we try to help out. But today is a very exceptional week because as you guys know, we do have some supporters on Patreon. Their photos usually displayed here, and our first Patreon supporter arrived in New Zealand yesterday, I think. So her name is Kat and she's traveling with her lover Noah. And yeah, they're here in New Zealand. That's the first time that we have Patreon supporters which are finally making it to New Zealand, which is really good. Adil says audio is 100%, but there is no video. Are you guys seeing our faces? I mean, we're seeing our own faces. So is the video working? Please do let us know. All right. In the meantime, so welcome to New Zealand, Kat and Noah. We're glad to have you in the country. Okay, what else do we have on the live chat? We're going to start reading the live chat while you guys tell us if it's working or not. Please telling us if it's working or not. We have Anthony Comstock that says Morena from Rodeo, California. What does Morena means?
It means good morning in the Maori language, which is the indigenous language of New Zealand.
He says, I have a cough and sore throat, but I do not have COVID. The test was negative. Well, that's a really good news. I too also have a very sore throat, and I too am COVID-free for now.
Yeah, just general illnesses instead.
Nathan Bates was saying Morena as well. I can't read the rest of his message because it's covered with all the questions of the day and all that jazz. So Nathan, sorry about that, but I did see that you said hi. What is Baby Burns saying?
Baby Burns says, what's up, guys? And also continues to say, is it really the government opening New Zealand for tourists sooner than June? Is that really happening, Robin?
Sooner than June? We haven't had anything official released just yet, so far I'm going to say no. But yeah, if there are some rumors, maybe they're going to open it earlier, but why would you? You know what I mean? Like June, July, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Right now we are in, you know, it's cold and winter in New Zealand. It's not the busiest kind of tourist season and everything. You know, there's not necessarily much of a need for that, so that may not be true. What is it?
Just to make it clear that though that the borders are open to people from visa waiver countries, so that applies to around 40 different countries.
Yeah. And that is already now. It is already open now.
Yeah, it's already open for those guys, but to the rest of the world, for everyone else, that is due to be open by the end of July, pretty much the beginning of August, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
all right.
Adil Mullah says, Kia ora, Robin and Laura.
And then he was saying that the audio was 100% there, but there's no video. But then he rebooted the video and it's working now.
Okay,
so that was a you problem, not a us problem, which is very rare. So I appreciate that.
We have Mark LA saying, what's up?
What's up, Mark? What's going on with you? Thank you for joining us. Clay Glencan.
Different name. Is that the Clay?
I don't know if it's the Clay. I don't know. I haven't seen any whiskey stuff, so maybe it's just a different Clay.
So if it's a different Clay, hey, different Clay. The reason we're usually saying that is that we usually have a regular on here who is also called Clay and also changes his name quite a lot on his username, so that's why we are. We were a little bit unsure, but if you're a different Clay, let us know. And we've gone through Adil's comment, and then we have Nathan saying, what is the best place to start on the South Island and finish if you want to do the West Coast? Okay, so if you want to do the West Coast, I would say that a good place to start would actually be starting from the top of the South Island in Picton area. So say you're coming from the North Island, you're taking a ferry across from Wellington, ending in Picton. That's usually a good place to start so that you can travel through going to St. Arnaud in the Nelson Lakes National Park, and then from there going through the Buller Gorge, making your way to Westport, which is close to the top of the west coast. Now from here you can go further north on the west coast to Karamea, doing a little bit of a back and forth and to that area if you have a lot of time. Going up to Karamea is really awesome because the Oparara Arches are up there. There's really like some amazing natural attractions to go see that not that many people do take the time to go and see, but since Nathan you are a local, hey, maybe it is a good idea to go check out those attractions. So then after you've gone up to Karamea, you can make your way down the west coast, and usually a good place to end is at Queenstown. So you will have to, once you get down to Haast, you'll have to take the Haast Pass to Wanaka, then to Queenstown, and from there, there's plenty of flights back up to the North Island from Queenstown. So that's the first thing that comes to mind really when thinking about the best place to start and end your South Island road trip if just traveling on the west coast.
All right, so Christina Holden, another one of our lovely Patreons, says, Morena, how is everyone? So she is based in Canada, and due to some weather events, they were out of power for about a week. So we did follow that through our Patreon Facebook group, and that was a bit scary. But she says that the power came back on Wednesday. And she says, nice to be able to join in today, listening and going to start dinner because it's 4 p.m.
Nice. Did
Early
you know
dinner, I like
that Auckland is the city with the longest recorded blackout?
Oh, tell us more.
I don't really know much more, but I think it was about 60 days or something like that.
So no power for 60 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we do actually have the full detail fact on the website.
Do
which
we?
We do have it will either be in New Zealand in numbers or 10 weird facts about New Zealand. We have a couple of articles like that. And and one of the facts that I do vaguely remember all those years ago when I wrote that article was that Auckland was the city with the longest recorded blackout. Which, hey, that was indeed a fun fact.
So I am reading, 66 days is the world's longest blackout that happened in Auckland. Indeed, 66 days without power. Holy moly macaroni, that's a lot of days.
Which, to be fair, is probably like normal life back in the day for most people in New Zealand, living out in the wild. So, yeah. That's
true. All right, guys. So we have a question of the day, by the way. So let's do the question of the day. Question of the day. Question of the day. Wow. Question of the day. Okay. So today the question of the day is on theme, which is what I'm going to talk about in a minute. And it is, did you plan a Kiwi encounter on your New Zealand itinerary? So do you have in your plan of traveling in New Zealand, did you plan to see Kiwi bird, which is an iconic bird here in New Zealand? I'm really curious to know if it's something which is kind of top priority right now. The answer is yes or no. It's pretty simple. So far, 71% of you guys went for yes. And the reason why we do ask you guys this question is because, woo, look at that next to Laura's face, amazing. We are launching Kiwi Month this month right here on YouTube. We will dedicate the whole month to the beautiful Kiwi birds. We have a lot of special videos coming out. We also have special guests that are going to join me during the live session. We're going to transform Laura into somebody else. And so it's going to be a really fun month, all dedicated to this iconic bird of New Zealand. And so I thought it would be fun to ask a question related to the Kiwi bird. So if you're not subscribed right now and you want to get epic, informational, fun, there's a little bit of everything, content about the Kiwi birds, make sure to hit subscribe now. The first video that's going to come out is coming out on a Thursday, and it's going to be a day in the life of a Kiwi ranger. I follow a mate of mine called Will for the whole day, and we are going, go to catch a Kiwi bird, release it somewhere else. We go through the whole thing, and you guys are going to be able to see everything on video. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's happening on Thursday, and then there is many more videos. Kiwi Month is upon us.
Yeah,
happy times.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, let's go back to the comments.
So we have Clay revealing the name behind the Glencairn. So he's saying, working sweet as. He says, Glencairn is a proper glass used for drinking whiskey. You can read between the lines on that one. So yeah, since I'm not really a connoisseur when it comes to whiskey, I had no idea that is what you call a glass for drinking whiskey. But hey, we did obviously have an inkling it was you, Clay, mainly because not that many people do have the name Clay, right? It's not that much of a common name, so usually the only Clay we know is Clay from the live show.
Yeah.
Okay, we have
Christina saying
can't answer the poll as we haven't decided. Although Barry said, isn't visiting New Zealand a Kiwi experience?
It technically is a Kiwi experience. That's why I added the word bird to the question, because I actually thought somebody would give me sass for this. So Barry, I was ahead of you and added the word bird to the question.
Yes,
so here you go.
All sass can be retracted. But yeah, that's the confusing thing in New Zealand is the differentiating between the words Kiwi.
Yeah, and to make it clear, with my mate Will, we're gonna go actually release in the wild an actual kiwi bird, not the fruit.
Or a person
I'm
that
not...
is from New Zealand.
Off you go now. Off you go. You live here now.
Do I have to? Okay. We read rest of the Clay's comments, and then we have Christina saying, Clay, you should take a drink every time Robin says literally. The new drinking game. We often make our own drinking games here on the NZ live show, don't we?
All right. What is Natasha saying? Another one of our amazing Patreon.
Natasha says, hi everyone, happy to have time to join in this week. Yeah, we are happy to have you here. And hopefully you can stick around for the Patreon live session as well as Natasha.
New game this week actually.
Patreons.
New game with the Patreons. That's gonna be fun.
Robert Lalaberte said, missed last week's show, watched the next day. $5 for a cup of coffee, presumably to go with the $5 donut. Is the local coffee that good as a cost saving? Would it benefit you to bring your own? Don't drink the stuff, but Margaret is a caffeine junkie. Says 5 times a day plus $5 equals 25 a day plus 30. Times 30 days equals $750 a month. $9,000 a year. Yeah.
Maybe drink less coffee when you're here, but yeah. You can make your own coffee, definitely cost saving, but yeah, $5 is about right for coffee in New Zealand. It's actually often more, to be quite fair.
And just to sort of clarify the type of coffee you're usually getting in New Zealand, you're getting like the the barista style coffee where it's like latte, mochaccino.
Yeah, it's not those kind of like refrigerated stuff.
It's not just like your maybe American style coffee that you see in diners and stuff on TV.
But let's ask. I'll ask other people. Clay, in Dunedin, how much do you pay for your coffee in the morning? Like, what's the price of a cup? I mean, Laura gets some chai latte, blah blah blah. It's often more than $5 actually.
If you go for something a little bit more fancy than your average flat white, which flat white is the sort of common go-to coffee in New Zealand. It's essentially just hot milk and a shot of coffee in there. But yeah, that's your go-to. That is the cheapest type of coffee usually. And then when you want to go a bit more fancy, which is like chai latte or I don't know, other things, mochas, that is obviously a little bit more expensive. So if you do have a coffee habit and you are regularly buying coffee, Clay says, I don't drink, but $6 from my understanding.
Yeah, that sounds really about right. That really does sound about the same thing. Like, it is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it goes up really fast.
Luckily, when you're staying in accommodations and stuff around New Zealand, if you're staying in, say, hotels or motels, that sort of thing, where they have like a little bit of a kitchenette area or a small self-catering facilities, then usually like tea and coffee are included. So if you do need your caffeine fix in the morning, you will get at least some instant coffee at your disposal. But it's quite an expensive habit if you do want to have your proper sort of barista coffee like 3 times a day. That's going to be pretty expensive.
Yeah, and so also if you want to actually save up some money, you can get coffees from like the gas station, and it's sometimes a little bit cheaper. Or McDonald's, they do them for like $4. They're like
$4, any size.
Yeah, any size.
I eat more milk. Because that's all it is.
Yeah, or more hot water. But yeah, so it'll be like you can get it a little cheaper, but like $5 will be pretty much what you pay all the time, and if you don't pay a little bit more than that. So yeah.
Yeah. So we have.
I do like the name of the person that calls us nerds. So thank you very much for calling me a nerd. I take that as a compliment. I can't really say your name, but I do find it very funny. Clay is pitching in right now, so in Dunedin he says he's paying about $6 for the coffee. So yeah, here you go. Oh,
and then says maybe $4 for a dairy, then Starbucks and gas station would be about $6.
Yeah.
Christina says, Robert, I'm planning on bringing a hand grinder I just bought at an AeroPress, but buy beans at some of the roasters as we travel. Yeah, so if you are a little bit of a bit of a
coffee aficionados.
Yes, there you go. Well said. Then yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to buy locally roasted coffee beans in New Zealand, because there are a lot of places in New Zealand that do take their coffee very seriously, roast all their own beans. Usually sourcing beans from the South Pacific and Indonesia, that sort of area. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of opportunities to get coffee beans as souvenirs as you're traveling around New Zealand. Just obviously, actually buying the stuff as a full drink is quite expensive.
It gets really expensive to buy coffee literally, even just once a day. I mean, obviously you just say it like 5 times a day. Maybe she needs some assessment right here.
Yes.
Yeah, it gets quite expensive to actually buy coffee every single day, and it's definitely something that is advertising like all the kind of money saving. Like in New Zealand, there is a lot of like either government organization or things like that, which kind of like trying to help you kind of manage your budget and all that. And pretty much every single time I see some of those ads, it starts with maybe you don't need to buy a coffee out every single day. And yeah, it definitely adds up. Like, even just thinking about it, like $5 a day, right? $5 a day gets really, really, really far. Like it would be $1,700 a month, a year, something like that. So yeah, that's quite a lot. Yeah.
So Christina also says, well, I work at a coffee roaster, so I'm a little bit of a coffee nerd.
Oh well, I think it's a percolator of the job. Oh, that was a terrible joke, Laura. Just no. All right, so I do have the schedule for Kiwi month. So I wanted to go over the schedule for Kiwi month, which I need to load because actually I do have it, but I didn't prepare it because I thought we'd get more questions right out of the bat. Usually we get like a massive bunch of questions and then it slows down.
You guys are pretty quiet today. So if you do have any questions about traveling in New Zealand, this is the place to do it right now on the live chat. So ask away, don't be shy. We answer everything that comes up, even from our friends that called us nerds. And yeah, so ask away. And in the meantime, yeah, Robin can tell us more of the schedule for Kiwi month.
Kiwi month is next to Laura. There is a cute Kiwi bird next to Laura. Okay, so on June the 2nd, so this Thursday, we're going to have a day in the life of a Kiwi ranger. On June the 9th, we're going to have 2 Kiwi Rangers that will answer the web's most asked question about the Kiwi birds. So, literally, those very popular questions. Some of them are weird, but yeah, they ask those things. That's going to be fun. Now, on June the 12th is going to be a Sunday. I'm going to have a mate of mine that's going to join me here. He's a Kiwi Ranger, and so we're going to transform Laura into a Kiwi Ranger. So that's going to be live right here. That's going to be a lot of fun. And there's going to be an extra hour of that for the Patreon, which is going to be quite cool. On June the 16th, we're going to have 10 fun facts about the Kiwi birds. All that with guest people that's going to come over. That's going to be really cool. On June the 23rd, we have 10 tips to see Kiwi birds in the wild. So if you are hoping to be able to spot Kiwi birds along the way while you hike in New Zealand and all that, well, there's going to be some tips for you. And then on June the 30th, it's going to be back with just Laura and I, and we're going to recap our favorite Kiwi bird encounters in New Zealand. So yeah, that's going to be like all that. And if there is some more, I will sneak in some more if we can. But yeah, there is really a lot of content about Kiwi birds. So I think that's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, and if you have on your bucket list to see a Kiwi bird while in New Zealand, then make sure that you don't miss any of the videos that are coming up this month. And also, let us know in the poll that we have on the live chat right now if you are planning on seeing a Kiwi bird. And yeah, throughout the next month, we will be showing you ways to actually be able to do that once you're in New Zealand, because it's not actually that easy.
No. All right, what is Lawrence asking?
Lawrence has a question for you, Robin.
What?
Hello, guys. Thank you for this session. As a right-side driving person, how hard is it to get used to driving on the left? I plan on visiting for 2 weeks and wanted to rent a car for the second week.
Okay, so obviously in New Zealand they do drive on the wrong/left side of the road, and you know, it is scary for a lot of people that want to get into you know, road tripping in New Zealand. But honestly, ultimately, it is not. See, I didn't say literally, by the way, Christina. Honestly, ultimately, it is not as hard as it seems. You really get your reflexes quite fast. You get them back as soon as you kind of get over that hurdle. So the way I always kind of tell people to approach it is, once you pick up your car rental at whatever rental place you're getting it at, drive out and obviously drive pretty slowly. And then when you are arriving at the first roundabout, this is when it's going to become a little bit like, oh, it's going to be weird at the first roundabout. Well, stop here and give yourself the extra 20 seconds. Don't care if people are honking at the back. Don't care. Just sit here and watch the traffic for a little bit and then go in there. And I personally feel that as soon as you've done the first roundabout, then you're sweet. So it's just all about that. And just getting used to just remembering that you look that side rather than looking that side. Just those kind of little reflexes. But you'll find that things get back, you know, quite easily. Even when it's driving with a stick, it is, you know, like you feel, oh, I'm going to have to do everything in the wrong way. It's not going to be the case. Obviously, getting an automatic even remove that stress, that's even better. But, you know, even with the stick, I did not find it too hard, and I could do it without looking like really quickly. So yeah, so just in short, do the first roundabout and you'll be good. We also have a video on this channel where we actually did a road trip for about like 4 hours or something like that, and we were driving all the way from Auckland to Taupo. And yeah, we decided to be live for the whole time, and we switched with the camera in front, the camera on us, the camera in front, the camera on us. And if you feel like watching that video, you'll be able to get a good understanding about how it is to drive in New Zealand. We talk a lot about traveling in New Zealand as well. The quality is obviously very uneven because we do it with cell phone coverage as we go, so bear with us. And so yeah, so while Laura is reading some of the comments for you, Lawrence, I will actually give you the link of that video right now. I'm just gonna need to find it quickly, and I'll give you the link in the live chat.
Cool. And Lawrence says, thanks for the awesome, the live chat's just
whoops,
gone.
here you go.
Says, thanks for the, that's awesome and really reassuring to hear. Thank you, Robin. So that's from Lawrence. Nathan says, I do want to do the Tongariro crossing again and complete it because I really want to experience the view from the top of the summit. What is the best time to go? So, if you're talking about, well, I'll give you best time in terms of the best time of day, and I'll tell you about more the best time of the year as well. So, in terms of the best time of the day to do the Tongariro crossing, I definitely say that the earlier you go, the better. Like, I know getting a bus at like 5 a.m. in the morning from Taupo, because there's shuttles from Taupo, there's a bit later shuttles from Turangi, and then later still if you're staying in National Park Village or Whakapapa Village. And yeah, so but getting one of those really early shuttles is definitely worth it, because you get onto the trail a little bit before it starts getting busier and busier on the trail. So if you're trying to, you know, avoid having too many people sort of as you go later in the day, you find that you're sort of waiting behind people going up some of the slower parts where you're going uphill, and everybody has their own pace and stuff. In our experience, we've always enjoyed the Tongariro crossing if we are starting at, you know, like 7 a.m. in the morning, and that means usually getting, say, a 5 a.m. shuttle or 5:30 a.m. shuttle from Taupo. So that's the first thing in terms of the best time to go during the day. And then the second thing, the best time of the year to go, if you want to go up there while it's safe to walk on your own but still see snow, so still see, for instance, snow on the top of Mount Nauhoi, even walking on a thin layer of snow as you're crossing the plateau onto Mount Tongariro, then the best time to go would be October. That's when the shuttles get started again. And yeah, so that's a way to see it under the snow, which is really beautiful. The only downside to that is that usually the lakes are, or the Blue Lake in particular, not the Emerald Lake, but the Blue Lake is usually covered in ice and it's all white, so you don't really get to see the vibrancy of the colours from that lake. but hey, you get to see snow. Alternatively, if you want to have all the snow gone and you want to see all the vibrancy of the colours of the volcanic landscape, then it's better to wait until around November, where it's not crazy busy. It's not in the middle of the tourist season, where the tourist season is usually summer between December and February. It's just before the craziness begins, and you get pretty decent weather combined with the snow pretty much all gone and all the beautiful scenery to see. So yeah, October or November, depending on what landscapes you want to check out.
All right, so Robert Laliberti says, I felt I understood about the roads and driving in New Zealand, and then made the mistake of watching day 112. I did put a link for you guys in the live chat right now if you want to check that at the end of this video, where Laura states at 5:20 into the video that Robin is an idiot and can't drive. Stop laughing, Laura.
That sounds like the sort of abuse I would give.
And she says, now I have to ask myself, why am I taking advice from him, especially in the light of Laura's comments? After all, who knows him best? What do you have to answer for yourself, young lady?
Well, I have to say, I can't be the one to judge that when Robin was doing almost all of the driving.
I still do to this day, by the way. I'm still the one that drives all the time.
I did our last drive.
You did do our last drive?
Mainly because Robin had a bit too much to drink. But I can step up with the time when the time is needed. But yeah, what are we saying? Yeah, no, I don't think you should really judge the person that isn't driving. Robin's driving skills were absolutely amazing. It's
wow, she had to be like, what can I say? What is the nice words? I do not know nice words.
It is, you know, it's been a while now since I made that comment. I'm sure I was probably, you know, there's probably a really bad reason for me to have been so negative towards you, Robin, and I apologise. All I can say is I'm sorry.
It made it to the video. Who's the idiot that editing the video and left that comment in?
That's true. I am actually intrigued to see what was day 112. I actually can't remember just from
that's when we did the on your bike and you know at the end of the video that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right, moving on.
Okay, Robin's not so good at driving four-wheel drive buggies, but on the road where there's rules and regulations in place, that is where Robin shines.
All right, so Lawrence is happy with the link I gave him. He says, thanks, that's awesome, really reassuring to hear. Thank you. And he also says he's going to watch the road tripping. Yeah, have fun with that. There is also the day 112. Now, Chris Clare was trying to make it to a live session, so it looks like Chris made it.
Well,
I think, Chris, are you from Australia? I think I'm trying to remember. You know, we don't have that many people watching our videos, so usually we try to remember things about people. So I think Chris is from Australia and was trying to do the time difference. And so, yeah. All right, so how is the crossing at the end of September, Laura? Do you need a guide?
Okay, so September is just towards the end of September. That is just before. I suppose it's the end of October is when the Tongariro crossing season starts, which means you go without a guide basically by the end of October. So September is obviously a little bit before that. There is likely to be still quite a bit of snow up there. So unless you are an experienced mountaineer, you know how to use crampons and ice picks. That is when you should be, you know, that in that case you can go without a guide on the Tongariro crossing. But if you are not an experienced mountaineer and you don't know how to use that equipment and you don't have that equipment, then you definitely should go up with a guide to do the Tongariro crossing. So yeah, in September, take a guide if you're not a mountaineer yourself.
Indeed. All right, then confirm to me, Chris, if what I said was correct. By the way, YouTube wants me to ask you to hit like. Please hit like. That'd be nice for YouTube. Clay says, Robin, you look like a kid sneaking biscuits and getting caught with a look of it wasn't me when you pushed the question button. Yes, I pressed the button. Speaking of the question, we're halfway through the video. Guys, there is a question of the day. Still singing. He's never gonna stop singing. Yeah, question of the day. Woo. All right. Yeah, there is dancing, but we hide it behind the button. All right. So, question of the day today: are you planning a kiwi bird encounter on your itinerary when traveling in New Zealand? We really want to know if kiwi birds are an important part or something which is essential that you have on your itinerary or not. So far we have 64 people that have said yes, and 30 6 people that have said no. So it's it's not a blowout. I genuinely thought it would be 90% people saying yes. I really thought everybody wanted to see kiwi birds.
But
so.
I mean, so many people come to New Zealand without seeing a kiwi bird because it is actually quite hard.
I know, but there are a lot of different encounter places you can do, right?
There is, but I guess like some people don't realize that you probably will need to go to like a sort of kiwi house or something to see them.
Yeah.
Or it's a thing that it's something you do have to plan for. It's not something that's just gonna happen.
All right. So Lawrence is correcting me, and she says she. Apologies for that. And yeah, I will try to remember. I'm trying to remember one thing about everybody all the time. So yeah, and I was right about Chris Clare.
Saying from
Sydney, Australia.
We have Oibaf 1420, which is
it's Fabio.
Saying, Kia ora guys, we'll be here in a few minutes. Had to entertain a Ukrainian friend who arrived a few days ago. Oh, I hope that your Ukrainian friend is feeling much happier and safer with you safe in your arms now. So
and that your entertainment skills are on par as well.
On par, yes. It's hard times, so I hope you are, giving it them all for the entertainment. MD says, hello from Texas, where it's 94 but not humid. Ooh, 94, what is that in Celsius?
34 degrees Celsius. Oh, okay, it's not too hot though. It's not like...
That's pretty hot.
I know, but it's not as hot as what we had when we were in the Cook Islands, for example. We had some days at 37.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Did we?
We actually did. I remember it was 37. I was like, it's the same inside and it is outside. Because 37 is the body temperature in there. So I was like, what?
That sounds like pretty nice weather. Right now in New Zealand or where we are,
it's about 6 degrees right now.
About 6 degrees,
yeah 6,
it's pretty chilly.
But it's warming up. It is quite, still quite early. It is winter right now, so our days are a little bit shorter. So we are having later sunrise and all that. And right now it's only about 8:32 in the morning. So, it's just warming up. He says, you Celsius people, well, you inches and Fahrenheit people and everything. You in America always you know what? If everybody goes liters, we're going to go gallons. I think that's better, right? Everybody's going to go meters, we're going to go inches. Everybody's going to go Celsius, we're going to go Fahrenheit. You guys do like to be like, to be specific and just have your own little thing, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's always extra work for me doing nzpocketguide.com. Whenever we are putting measurements and distances, I always put it
in miles.
I do it in both kilometers and miles, so everybody can understand. Yeah. But it's always like, okay, I need to now do the conversion of this.
But MD, if you are popping on this video right here, you probably are planning a trip to New Zealand. Are you ready for switching to filling up your gas tank in liter, driving in kilometers, and are you ready for that, or do you feel like you're gonna need an app all the time, or do you think you can switch quite easily? Because I did live in the US for a little bit, and I have to say it took me a wee while to adjust. And at the end, I was just literally like, a gallon will do. I can drink a gallon of milk a day. It's like,
I'll just go for gallons. It's easier.
So are you ready for that? But that would be actually an interesting question to ask. For one of the poll to ask if there is any units of measurement that they will need to convert during their trip. I'm interested in that, but it's because I am a nerd. That was called a nerd today by. I can't say the name, but that was a funny name. I liked it. Anyhow. All right, guys. Where are we at? Oh, yeah, Patreon. Yay. Boom. Hey, guys, if you want to support us in the making of this amazing channel, you can join us on Patreon. That will allow you to stock up on good karma and get amazing perks, such as access to a Facebook group, like a secret Facebook group where we hang out together pretty much every single day. There is not a day with no post. We also support you in planning your trip. We can add our notes to your itinerary and all that good stuff. You're also going to have access to a PDF guide that will help you plan your trip to New Zealand with some hidden gems and secret stuff that we love to we love for you to actually know of, things that we haven't published anywhere else. Yeah, and there is many other perks that you will be able to get out of supporting us on the channel. You will join a group of 14 awesome supporters. Yes, we currently have 14. We passed the threshold of that dreaded 13 that we had for the longest time. So yeah, so you join a group of 14 awesome people that share travel tips in New Zealand and also have access to our brains all the time, because now I spend way too much time on Facebook because of this group all the time. Anyway, so we have different level of support, and it starts at the price of a cup of coffee a month, which is about $5. Yes, Robert, just $5. Okay, producers, we have Fabio, Tamo, Beverly, and Clay. They are like our super producer levels. And then we have supporter levels: Joey, Anthony, David, Natasha, Jaro, the secretive Hidden Hammock, Sander, Oriol, which is planning a honeymoon and a trip to the Cook Island too, which is quite cool, Christina and Barry, Kat, which is currently in New Zealand, just arrived, and Pistachio, and Mark, which is another local here in New Zealand. So yeah, consider joining us. That'd be a lot of fun. And yeah.
And we swear we'll give you more value than the price of a cup of coffee in New Zealand.
Yes, and you can stop supporting us whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's like there's no commitment or anything.
Obligations.
Yeah. All right, what is happening to MD?
MD says, no, I can't drive in the snow, much less on the other side of the road. If you're referring to driving in the snow in New Zealand, that is rarely an instance when that really occurs. Very rarely in some of the higher areas in winter. But otherwise, the climate of New Zealand is maritime, which means it's a lot of the places are near the coast.
Yeah, it's a big misconception that you will have to drive a lot in the snow in New Zealand. Like, unless you're going to the ski resort like continuously, you probably wouldn't have to drive. Like in the heat of winter, you'd have some snow in Queenstown and everything, but they kind of clear the road really fast. And so even in Queenstown, you wouldn't have to be an experienced snow driver to be able to.
And it rarely snows actually in Queenstown itself. It's usually it's raining in Queenstown and it's snowing on the mountains. That's how how different it is. So yeah, it is a bit of a misconception that you drive in the snow in New Zealand. It rarely happens.
And MDs, when it comes down to driving just on the other side of the road, you may want to rewind the video. We just answered the question of Lawrence. She was asking about driving in New Zealand and being a little bit stressed about it. So she got reassured by me, and also there's a couple of links literally in the live chat right now that I mentioned of us driving around, so you can get acquainted with that. And speaking of Lawrence, what is she saying?
Lawrence says, having grown up in France and spent half my life there and the other half in the US, sorry US, but those measurements make no sense.
Don't tell them that. They have guns over there. Don't tell them. No, I mean, I'm the same thing. I spent half my life in France, and then I moved all around, and I spent time in the US and everything. The thing that put me off, not really like it makes no sense, but it's more the fact that they're not as related one and the other as much. And I don't know, is there a relation, like a very clear relation between an inch, a foot, and a mile, and all that? You know, like I like, centimeters, decimeters, kilometers, like its own. Hey?
Sorry. Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
So it kind of correlates to one another. Like, I don't know, it just makes it more sense. Like, a decimeter is like a 1/10 of a meter, and a centimeter is 100th of a meter, and all that. Like it's an easy thing to understand. Well, I felt a little bit more lost in the US. That's a little bit more, what I'm getting to when I just make some joke, obviously in jest, about all the crazy different units of measurements in the US. And also, which is quite interesting, is that in the science field in the US, they still use the metric system. So they will drive in miles to go to their research lab to measure things in meters. It's like, they will literally drink a gallon of Coca-Cola while, doing measurements in liters and in deciliters and all that in the lab. So in the scientific world, they're using the metric system, which it's even more confusing to me, because those people must be pulling their hair out. Like, it changes all the time for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, in New Zealand, we do kilometers. So we're happy with that. We drink in liters. And, that's... Yeah, we don't have too much.
We weigh things in kg, so when you go to the supermarket, it's usually like per kg, per 100 grams.
Some people still talk about like, you know, pounds or inches and everything, but
but if they were alive during the, you know, during World War II.
Yeah, okay. We're referring to somebody that is 80 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, MD continues to say, good karma is free. Love it. Nice little saying there. And then says, just subbed. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And I hope that the rest of our live chats, live shows will help you plan your trip to New Zealand. And then MD says, I watch a lot of live streams from New Zealand and Australia. You know, the ski resorts. So when it's over 100 plus here, I am watching Thredbo, Mount Buller, etc. So yeah, I guess you mean like you see the live cams at the ski resorts when it's all snowy. While it is really hot where you are. I guess that's what you meant from your comments. So. And
MD says I'm a pharmacy tech, so I use the matrix. So you're one of those that have to think in 2 different units of measurement depending on which part of your life you're currently living. I think that it will literally create a split personality within my own person right here. Yeah. It is quite. Or maybe you have you underwent a severance procedure and therefore you are not really bothered by what happened to you at work. And yes, I really like that show Severance, by the way, guys. I don't know if you've seen Severance. I really like.
All right, quick
I'm really into that right now.
If you haven't seen that, it's on Apple TV, and we really love that show. It's really cool.
So I'm really into that show.
A little bit of a recommendation there for any of you guys that like to watch TV.
Indeed. All right. So if you do have any questions about traveling in New Zealand, go nuts. We only have about like 15 people watching right now, so you will definitely have plenty of our time. Other than that, so again, it is Kiwi month. We are launching Kiwi month, and we're pretty excited about it. So boom, right next to Laura, plenty of Kiwi bird related videos coming up this month on the channel. We're gonna dedicate the whole month on to videos about Kiwi birds. We're even gonna have some guest stars doing some live sessions and everything like that. So yeah, just make sure to subscribe, make sure to stick around with the channel if you're interested in Kiwi birds. And that relates to the question of the day: are you planning a Kiwi bird encounter during your New Zealand trip? Please answer the question of the day. We'll check the results in about 15 minutes when the live session is over. So yeah, Kiwi month is starting. Are you guys excited? I am excited. I like Kiwi month. All right, what is happening? What is Fabio asking?
Fabio says, I am home now. The friend wanted to go to a public viewing of the Champions League. I am totally lost with football. No, it is not soccer, US. And she knew everything. I have to say, I am very lost with all sports, to be fair, whether it is football, American football, rugby, cricket. Everything like that.
I watch one sport every year. I watch one thing to relate with sport, and that's the Super Bowl, just because it's such a massive show. And I love to watch. I mostly watch it for like the production. I'm like, I can't believe they put a camera there. Or, like it's such a big spectacle. So I just watch the Super Bowl, and that is it. So one game, one sport in the entire year. So that's as much as I know. Yeah. But like we obviously have been to like rugby games, and when I lived in Canada I went to a hockey game. When I lived in the US I went to see the Lakers and American football and all those kinds. So that you kind of experience it just for what it is. But like I'm really not into sports at all.
I think the last time I went to a sports bar was in Queenstown to watch one of the Game of Thrones finales, because they had that up on this big screen.
Of course.
Sports bars.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Moving on.
Anyway, MD says sports in New Zealand?
So the number one. So interestingly enough, so you probably heard about rugby, but the number one sport by subscription and membership in the country is actually golf. There's a lot of really small golf courses all around the country. So golf is pretty big in New Zealand, but it's not really something that everybody watches on TV and everything like that. The thing that rally people, and which is the team sport in New Zealand, that would be rugby. Second, that would be cricket. So rugby, cricket would be more like those sports that you kind of get everybody together. You go to the stadium, there is big party, but even then, the stadiums are relatively empty unless like a team like the All Blacks would be playing, for instance. Moving on, Robert.
Robert says, last week there was a discussion about the high cost of airfare. People should keep in mind that you can't buy happiness, but you can buy plane tickets, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and at least you're grumpy elsewhere. It's kind of like, I'd rather be grumpy elsewhere than just there, Standing still and sulking is not great, but yeah, going elsewhere. Yeah, so last week we had a poll on asking what's the budget, or what was your budget to plan an airfare, to pay for airfare in New Zealand. That was kind of interesting. The results were cool as well. What is Clay saying?
Clay.
Speaking of buying a happiness, a bottle of Jack Daniel is happiness for Clay.
I have to use both all the time, and when I speak about measurements, I don't even think about it, and it's just whatever system my word vomit chooses.
So Clay is a plumber in New Zealand. So yeah, a lot of tradies, they're talking inches and everything, like, because when they buy like pieces of wood, like it's called 2x4s and everything like that. Is it 2 centimeters by 4? No, it's probably inches or something like that, right? 2x4 is like, what is the unit of 2x4? Like, I've heard so much about 2x4. I had to buy 2x4 myself.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the unit of those damn 2x4 pieces of woods are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't really know. But yeah, I think in the trades, they actually do use inches and stuff.
And when we were renovating our house, like our neighbor is a retired tradie, and he would always be like, "Oh, this is it's 310 or 310 or whatever." It's like every time I had to be like, "Okay, what is he talking about? Okay, maybe he's talking about centimeters." Like it's always like
he loves to confuse himself.
Yeah, he confuses me, himself, everybody.
2x4 is 45 by 90. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Obviously.
Still no units. You see him? You see what's happening with those units of measurements right here? Even Clay is like 2x4 is 45 by 90. What does that mean? Which is
and
units?
a couple of letters in there.
Yeah, just add like a little bit,
about. Yeah. For the layman.
I feel like it's a word scramble. I feel like it's like the riddle that you have to do to open the temple and get all the gold. I bet there is no gold at the end of that riddle. What is Fabio saying?
Fabio says, my question of the day. Guys.
Question of the day. Question
and
of
especially
the day.
Laura, what are your favourite day walks on the North Island? And second, what are your favourite multi-day walks on the North Island?
Especially Laura. So I'm not included in that.
Right.
I'm going to have a sip.
Okay. So, I have been thinking about this because you did say in the Patreon Facebook group that you wanted us to think about this. So, I think it's always good to stick a little bit to the national parks on the North Island because they are the parts which have the most beautiful landscapes or preserved landscapes where you can find a variety of hikes and walks. A really awesome national park is the Egmont National Park. And that's found in the Taranaki region of the North Island. And there are both day walks and multi-day hikes that I'll kind of just sort of group together. Because there's the Puaki day walk and also the Puaki circuit, which is the multi-day walk. So like in the Tongariro National Park where you have the Tongariro crossing and you have the Tongariro circuits, there's kind of the equivalent of that in the Taranaki National, or the Egmont National Park, sorry. So yeah, the Puaki day walk is a really awesome sort of crossing sort of walk as well, where you're going over the side of the volcano there, seeing lots of different scenery, really lush forests with all the moss sort of growing on every surface possible. And you also have beautiful sort of tarns, where there's a famous photo that everyone takes on this walk, which is of the Tarns Lakes, where you have beautiful lakes with the reflection of the summit of Mount Taranaki in there. So that is all captured on the day crossing that you can do there, or it's also on the the Puaki circuit, which is about a 3-day walk, starting and ending at the North Egmont National Park Centre, which you can easily access from New Plymouth. And you just park your car there, let the guys know at the information centre there that you're doing the walk.
Yep.
And then you're staying in huts. I think you do need to book the huts along the way for this walk because it's semi-popular, not as crazy popular as the great walks like the Tongariro Crossing and the Tongariro Circuit. But this is a really cool sort of way to spend more time in that area among really beautiful forests, like actually some of the best forests in the North Island in my opinion. And beautiful views of Mount Taranaki. So that area is really awesome if you are really into hiking. And another day walk that you could be doing there is the Taranaki Summit Walk, best done obviously outside of the winter season because it's covered in snow in the winter season. But You can hike up to the summit of Mount Taranaki and get some amazing views from the top as well. So that's another really good challenging day walk to do. And then, yeah, we have talked a lot about the Tongariro National Park on this channel, so I'm pretty sure you probably, even today we talked a lot about the Tongariro crossing, so maybe I won't go too much into that. I would just say that an alternative walk you can do there is the Tama Lakes walk. Full day hike there and back, about the same distance and length as the Tongariro crossing, but you get an alternative view. And it's definitely worth staying there an extra day to do that walk. If you have already done the Tongariro crossing in a previous trip, or you just want to do something a little bit alternative, then the Tama Lakes walk is another really awesome day hike. Another multi-day walk. Shall I keep on going, or am I spending too long talking about this? Another multi-day walk that is. It's semi worth doing because it's a really awesome. It's one of the great walks that's less sort of. It's less done, but there's a little bit more organisation to it, which is the Lake Waikari Moana Great Walk. That area is absolutely stunning. It is in the largest forest in the North Island. That is really sorry, I'm just scratching.
I know. I'm just trying to see when are you going to take a breath?
Yeah, no. I get a little bit excited talking about walks. So Lake Waikari Moana Great Walk is, yeah, like I say, in the largest forest in the North Island. It really does feel like you're in the wilderness, away from it all. You have to take gravel roads to get there. It's a bit off the beaten track, but this great walk, you have to get sort of boat transfers at the end, or depending on which side you start. So there's a bit of organisation there, and it's not as easy, like the companies there are not as easy to organise this walk with compared to elsewhere in the country. So if you're prepared to do a little bit, back and forth with the organisation.
He definitely is. He's not his first rodeo in New Zealand.
Okay, then yeah. So that is another really awesome multi-day hike to do. And if you don't have time to do the multi-day hike there, then there's certainly some really awesome day walks to do there as well. We really loved the Caves walk, which we did there, which I can't remember the name of right now.
No, there's a video of us doing it.
Yeah.
It's O something.
O something. I don't know. Anyway, we do have a walk of us at Lake Waikari Moana doing a Caves walk there. If you do want to go onto nzpocketguide.com and search the 20 best walks at Lake Waikari Moana, then we do have that article there which lists all the amazing day walks in that area. So that is a really awesome place to escape to nature and really feel like you are away from the rest of the sort of towns and cities that the North Island is perhaps more famous for. Okay, I think I've talked enough about
okay,
that.
we're gonna thank you, Fabio, for almost killing Laura right here.
I could talk about more, but I don't want to just take over the live session
all right.
all day.
So Lawrence, she asked, cricket and rugby are big in New Zealand, right? Yep, that's what I was talking about. Clay Glencairn says, pass me the half-inch blender. I might say 1 minute. Then the next is pass me the 15mm blender. It confuses the apprentice. And then he says, 2x4 is a 45x90. And then Lawrence, she says it's 2x4 inches and 45-90mm. And Clay is making some nonsense over there. Which makes me realize Clay...
He doesn't even know.
Clay confused us with his last name, and I think that's a very apt and good name right now on the stuff. So you get in your world. The best username of the week.
So honored.
There you go. So yeah, every week we do give the award of the best username to somebody. This time Clay takes it.
Yeah. Why didn't you give it to the other guy that had the very, I guess...
Because I couldn't pronounce it. I couldn't say it. If I can't say it. And also I strongly suspect the other guy left. Okay, New Zealand...
Why would he do that? Okay.
Yeah, it was just going...
Yeah,
I'll explain to you. Yeah. Okay, New Zealand Rail and Bus Action says, are you going to go on the Transalpine again? Please answer, I'm a big fan. We're a big fan of you too. Yeah, we probably will. There is kind of not much of a reason to go travel around the South Island and not do, not do the Transalpine. I feel like I've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of like it's a really cool thing to do, especially like the one-day stuff. So you don't have to do a lot of maneuvering with your car and everything. But yeah, so did you watch our video? I guess you have. You watched our video of us doing it, and did it make you want to do it yourself, or have you done the Transalpine? What's your take on it? The one thing I'm going to say though is that when we do the Transalpine again, I want it to be in the dead of winter, because we did it in summer. And I want to be experiencing very different landscape. We drove through Arthur Pass in winter, which was really, really cool, but we didn't get to actually do the Transalpine in winter. So why not? That's kind of like how I will tweak it a little bit. Don't forget to like, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, says YouTube. God, I don't know why I keep on reading what the robots tell me to read. Okay, Clay says, if you were silly enough to come back to Dunedin, what would you do for a second time, or anything that you haven't done here? To be fair, I will go back to the Albatross Center. I will do again like the wildlife stuff. I really do love the wildlife stuff. So I think I will do those one again. Now, around the area, is there anything that we haven't done and that we're like, oh, I wish I could do it myself again?
Well, just because I'm personally into sort of birds and wildlife, and as you are as well, I'd go to the wildlife sanctuary that they have there. It begins with an O. It's quite a long name. We've talked about it before with Clay. Maybe you'd have to give it a quick Google, but it's called like the Oko something wildlife sanctuary. It's like a predator.
I think it's Okarito or something. Let me just try.
Okarito.
Oh no, that's on the west coast. Yeah.
Franz Joseph. But yeah, they have like a predator-proof fence bird sanctuary there. Which, to be fair, we've been to a lot of those in different places. In
Orokonui.
Yes. Orokonui Wildlife Centre. So yeah, that's one we haven't been to, and just because that's like a personal interest of mine and Robin's, that would be a thing that we would do. Anything else? I actually haven't.
Fabio talks about the pinnacles. That could be it's a bit of a drive, but yeah, no, that's cool as well.
Yeah.
I feel like we were lucky enough to do pretty much everything we wanted to do.
I think one thing we haven't done, which I'm not sure.
I think a beer with Clay. That's an activity I'd like to try.
A beer with Clay. But also doing the actual guided tour of Lanark Castle. It's like one of those.
Oh, the guided tour.
Yeah, it's one of those iconic things. Which I mean, I've had friends that have done it and sort of, gave me the whole lowdown of what it's like. But it's just one of those things that a lot of people go and do, but we actually haven't done ourselves. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's something that I'm like absolutely wanting to go and do either.
All right, so Fabio says thanks, Laura, with a bunch of emojis. Ooh, the people that know us knows to add emojis to their questions. He says, we have been to Lake Wakaremoana. I will talk about it a little bit more during the Patreon. It was so funny to drive there. Yeah. Yes. Laura, I think we have to have a private tramping hiking call. Ooh, Laura, that's going to take an entire day of hers.
Yeah.
She's not going to stop. She's never going to stop.
We can do a Patreon special about
that'd be fun, actually, yeah.
At some point,
Clay celebrating his jackpot. That's pretty epic. Lawrence, she says, I'm sure you've covered it in the past, but since I'm brand shiny new to the channel, you may be giving me a 1 minute on your background and your life in general. Laura, just 1 minute. Lawrence, you say you're new here, but it looks like you know everything already.
Yeah, you already know. I talk too much when it comes to things that I am very passionate about.
All right, quick background. I was born in France. I worked and traveled in about 16 different countries. Arrived in New Zealand. Been here for about 12 years now. Worked in tourism for pretty much the whole time. And we are the team that writes NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. We work and live and breathe traveling. All the profit that we make with our business, we spend it in doing sustainable projects around the tourism realm in the South Pacific. So we are not for-profit company. We also have FijiPocketGuide.com, which is the largest travel guide in Fiji, TongaPocketGuide.com, which is the largest travel guide in Tonga, NuePocketGuide.com, which is the largest travel guide in Niue, and there is a travel guide coming up soon for the Cook Island as well, and we'll keep on expanding around the South Pacific, pushing green travel and saving the planet. That's me.
Well, that's kind of us. But I'll just quickly go over, I guess, my...
Laura's a journalist.
Backstory, yeah. So I am from the UK originally, and I have been in New Zealand now for perhaps about 8 years. I have a background in journalism. That's kind of why, I do most of my sort of role in this sort of organisation is editor-in-chief of NZPocketGuide.com, as well as our South Pacific websites. So yeah, I'm in charge of all things sort of content on the websites, and
she's our editor-in-chief.
Yeah, so that is kind of my quick background. I won't say any more. I'll stop myself from saying more.
All right. So Fabio was saying the pinnacles. There is like some.
Is it like the hexagonal columns? There's that, and then there's
no,
also...
it's not this one. It is the
one near Cheviot?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Organs. Is it called?
Yeah, but they have like a name. I will find it. I'll find it. Okay, well, just read what I'm saying.
MD said, made it back. Internet issues since car barreling at 100 miles per hour crashed through the house down the street Thursday night, and the transformer blew up this morning. Oh my god, that's quite dramatic.
I feel you with the internet problem. I spent the whole day yesterday doing that.
Nathan says, I don't know if you saw me comment. I will repeat my question. What is your favourite thing to do since you have been in New Zealand? No, we didn't see that.
We may have missed it. Yeah, sorry, apologies
Nathan,
for that.
But thanks for putting it again so that we can answer it. So, saying, what is your favourite thing to do ever since you have been to New Zealand?
Still swimming in Kaikoura. I love sea doggos. Sea doggos are the best. I want to rub their bellies. I want them to look at me. I'm joking. I did not touch them. Don't touch wildlife. But swimming with the seals, sea doggos, I love it. So pretty.
My favourite thing to do is Ulva Island in Stewart Island. Well, it's not in Stewart Island, it's just next to Stewart Island. You can take a very short ferry over to this bird sanctuary, which is one of the most insane bird sanctuaries that I have been to in New Zealand. There are parrots flying everywhere. There are kiwi birds literally running around in the daytime. And there's all sorts of wildlife there. It's like you're stepping back in time. So that's one of my favorite things to do in New Zealand, and it's always the first thing that comes to my mind when someone asks that question. Okay, MD says, back to the birdwatch. Royal albatross chicks are ginormous. Sorry.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, reading is hard, but Royal albatross themselves are ginormous. They are actually the largest type of seabird in existence, along with the wandering albatross, which are about the same size. But yeah, Royal albatross are literally the largest seabirds around, so they're pretty huge. Clay says, Lanuktor, and then a couple of sleepy emojis.
Yeah, you saw my face, I agree.
I know, that's one of the things that I'm not keen to do it, but it's kind of one of those things that I feel like Lanark Castle is such an icon of Dunedin that I almost feel like, as people who, are working in the tourism industry and providing you guys with all this content about being the know-it-alls of New Zealand, I feel like if we haven't done the Lanark Castle tour, I feel like we should have that down by now.
Yawn.
But yeah, yawn. Anyway, Fabio says, Patreon special with Laura. I'm 100% in. Whoop whoop. And then continues to say, hiking in all capital letters. That is the only way to spell hiking, in my opinion. MD says, eat really hot things while doing this show. Okay, come here.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
The cringe right here. Now we will not do those whatever.
Hasn't
like
that been overdone on
YouTube?
YouTube?
Ryan Reynolds and the other guy, like Super Colburn Bowen, whatever his name is.
Like that's probably,
eat hot things. No, that's
isn't
nonsense.
That more entertaining watching celebrities do that rather than us
two idiots. Okay, Lawrence says thank you for that. You're welcome. Fabio says, guys, give a like. There are 15 people watching and only 7 likes. Yeah, hit like button. That'd be nice.
Guys.
Clay says, the organ pie on Mount Cargill. That's the one that says there was a bit of a drive. No, that's not a bit of a drive. I'm keep trying to find it. It basically looked like the Omar Maclay clip, but it's like much smaller and it's very spiky. I just can't remember.
It's near Cheviot, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure it out to find it. I can't find it right now.
Let's do a quick Google, Robin. I will sort this out.
Okay, she's the expert. Okay, she'll find it.
We have them on the website as well. Like I know what you're talking about.
Fabio says, we did the Lanark Castle tour. I'm sorry, it's not a castle and the tour was boring. Ah, here you go. Fabio agrees as well. Yeah, also I found that kind of interesting. Like the Lanark Castle is basically like a fancy mansion, I'd say, but it's not really a castle. You know, there is no moat, and if any of the French medieval army wanted to take it over, I can tell you they could. It is not well defended, so I don't know if it's really that big of a castle, but yeah. You know, that's the thing. If you're into architecture, if you want something pleasant, that's gonna just be like, oh, look at all those pretty things. That works. That works for you. But it's not necessarily, in my opinion, what New Zealand is all about. You know, Fabio, you were talking about all the amazing hikes that we have here and everything. New Zealand is about the pure, amazing wilderness that we have more than that.
Is that the...
That's what I was looking forward to. Sorry.
This is in Cheviot, which is actually quite far away.
That's
from
what I was
Dunedin.
saying. It's a long drive,
it's
but I
actually
think
north of Christchurch.
Okay, so just to make it clear, Fabio was just trying to talk about the pinnacles. In my head, it was either this one in Cheviot or the one in Omarara, because there is no other kind of pinnacle looking like. Both of them are quite far. I thought he was mentioning the Cheviot one.
So
just to make it clear, it wasn't my suggestion,
yes.
so we're not blaming me.
No, sorry. We are not blaming you. But yeah, I think what Clay was saying about the organ pipes on Mount Cargill, I think that is probably the closest pinnacle-like thing. It's not that
It's not pinnacly at all.
It's still like things going up.
Fabio, you confused that to Netherlands.
That's like the closest sort of rock formation near Dunedin.
All right.
Okay.
So Clay says you're not thinking about the Clay Cliff. Are you? No. So that's the thing. It's not the Omarama Clay Cliff. I thought he was mentioning the one in Cheviot, right? So that's obviously. I don't know. I'm not in Fabio's head, so I didn't know. But it was one or the other. I knew the Omarama Clay Cliff for sure. Literally on my screen right now. Actually, if I swap to that, you'll see that I was on there. Boom. See, that's the Clay Cliff. I had that already. I knew what we were talking about, but yeah, I didn't know which one were closer because Omarama as well is like a damn drive. So yeah. Okay.
There was another thing in Dunedin. Maybe Clay would be able to know the name of it, but there's like some sandbanks nearby where you can go and do some sandboarding. I did discover that was like a really cool beach nearby, kind of. Yeah. So it's another thing that is close to Dunedin.
All right, and so wrapping us up today, we have Anthony Comstock saying his classic, stay safe, but I'm here until the end, and Fabio saying if you are from Austria, you know that the small thing is not a castle, it is a greenhouse of a modern castle. I kind of agree with that. The European castle actually would be much more prominent and amazing and everything like that. All right, so before we conclude, question of the day. Woo! Question of the day. Okay. Yeah, if you wanted to know the name of the sand banks that Laura was talking about, it's called Sandy Mount.
Cool.
Thanks, Clay.
For that, Clay. All
right. Did you plan a Kiwi bird encounter on your itinerary in New Zealand? 55% of you said yes. 44% of you guys said no. Well, I have been proven completely wrong because I thought it would be a blowout of 90% yes and 10% no. So here you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for 1 hour live session. We went way over time because we got completely distracted, but we are doing another hour right now with the Patreon. So if you want to consider joining us in Patreon, it's a great way to support us for less than a cup of coffee a month. And yeah, you get an extra hour of all our nonsense. So see you then. In the meantime, we'll see you next week. And don't forget to watch our Kiwi Bird related video coming out this week. Bye-bye.
See you next week and enjoy Kiwi Month here on the channel.
Nah, one person's not dead.